This is going to be a Sixers post-game live. I know it's been a real long time since a video came out. I have some Mac charger problems. Isn't it always something? But it was a Mac charger. Sixers win 117-109. This is really the second full game, really, I got to watch of the Doc Rivers era. And it was really nice to see. I think that the game begins and ends, and I think the first thing you have to talk about is Joel Embiid and what he's been able to bring to the table. Not only offensively, but defensively as well. I thought that Joel Embiid, he was active on the defensive end. You know, he altered some shots. He was really in position for most of the night. As far as our pick-and-roll defense is concerned, I think a part of it is youth. You know, Tyrese Maxey played 21 minutes. Shake Milton played 28 minutes. We're relying on these young guards to be what I term physical at the point of attack. We need them to be able to use their hips, dislodge the screen, and to be able to get in front of the screener and contest shots. Between that and Matisse Thybulle still taking bad angles at the ball because he wants to steal and block from the weak side. It's just, And then Danny Green, he hits threes, he does things, but I'm going to get a specific video on that. But let's just say that Danny Green is one of the worst screen defenders I have ever seen. So this team is still not equipped in terms of its personnel to guard the screen and roll, and that's going to be an issue. You know, and I think it's probably something that will help with age and help when Danny Green goes somewhere else. I'm not going to lie, I'm just not a fan of Danny Green on the defensive end of the floor. But back to the main topic, Joel Embiid and why he was so successful. The biggest difference between last year, or even 2 years ago, when he put up 27 and 13, and this year for Joel Embiid is Embiid's mid-range game is incredible. Now, there were hints of it, and that's why I want to see more mid-range. You know, oftentimes last year, and even for the most part of the clown era, we were having Embiid just roam around the 3-point line for absolutely no reason at all. And it was just ridiculous. What the big man going to do 30 feet from the basket? Really? And it's not like you were running any screens for the guy or anything. Not really trying to scheme Joel Embiid open. Whereas in tonight's game, as an example, you really saw the Sixers, you know, put him in the elbow, put him in the free-throw line, mid-range area, you know, get a little rub screen action going between Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid late in the quarter. Just a varying different looks, and a lot of these looks, not only were they at different areas of the court, but I am so thankful to see shooters at the corner slot area. Thank bleeping God. You have no idea how frustrating it was. We had J.J. Redick, right? We had Marco Bellinelli. We had Ilsan Ilyasova. None of those guys, we would not scheme it so that they would stay stationary in the corner. Do you know why you have a shooter stationary in the corner? It's hard AF to double from that area. If Seth Curry is standing there 45% career from three, you're not doubling off that angle. If Danny Green's on the strong weak side, you're not bringing the double from there either. So just by having shooters in the corners and not random X area behind the invisible 4-point line that doesn't yet exist. Maybe it would exist one day and it'll be revolutionary, but for right now it doesn't exist. Stuff like that was just stupid. It just took the player away from the play, like standing 30 feet from beyond the 3-point line. And not Steph Curry. Lord. It was just dumb shit like that Brett did that really handicapped Joel Embiid and kept Embiid from being the best version of himself. And I'm just so happy to have a coach in Doc Rivers who understands how to play through the post. I am so happy. And so is Joel Embiid. That's why he's having the best year of his career. Because the coach understands the post. And to Joel Embiid's credit, Joel Embiid is buying into the early kick out. He's buying into the repost. And part of the reason you buy into the repost is if the perimeter player isn't thinking, oh, I'm going to go get mine, whatever, quote-unquote, play free. No, if my postman kicks it out, I have the obligation to throw it right back in there to the big fella. Basic basketball. And we're finally here. So, if you want to know where Doc Rivers has his most impact, is some, in the Philly YouTube community, if you're confused about it, just look at Joe in the post, and I can guarantee you that wasn't happening last year, wasn't happening the year before, and as much as it is the shooters, it's also where they're actually stationed, and the whole scheme and structure. You have these double ball screens. You have this pinch post reversal. My God, it's an entirely new playbook, and I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. I don't just love it because we're winning. That's not just it. It wasn't that we were just winning. Can we just talk about the elephant in the room, rip off the Band-Aid? Some of that basketball was disgustingly disturbing to watch last year and the year before, wasn't it? It was like watching paint dry. You were watching the same action over and over again. Like last year in particular, we were running horns, and I did not see a single horn set. I did not see one horn set all game tonight. We went through every single game last year with about horns 40% of the time. Horns became his new dribble handoff. And, oh my God, it was this disgusting scene. The second big man coming to set the screen at the free throw line extended. Now, it's not that horns is a bad play, but it's just that, you didn't play Trey Burke, you played Hal Neto, you didn't play Shake Milton until game 70, literally. Like, why are you running horns when you don't have a guy to come off the corner? It just never made sense. The horns play never worked, and it was just disturbing to watch. I think you definitely have better personnel for it now with Seth Curry when he gets back, Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey. So I wouldn't even be mad if Doc used horns. But the fact that no horns has been used is a thank God after getting abused with it so much. Like, I'm triggered by it. And I will admit, there is still a little triggering with the DHO. But let's talk about that specifically. It wasn't the fact that you were running a dribble handoff. It was the fact that you were running a dribble handoff with J.J. Redick. Oftentimes it was asked, what is the coach's responsibility? He just sits there with a clipboard. No. Put your player in position to succeed. J.J. Redick is not a ball handler. Never ask J.J. Redick to put the ball on the floor. Guess what a dribble handoff does? It's in its name. It's not a confusing set. It's called dribble handoff. It's for a guard to put the ball on the floor. J.J. Redick never put the ball on the floor in Orlando or Milwaukee or his days in Duke. Never in this man's career. Even when Doc ran it, it was literally more of a pistol action where DeAndre Jordan would just hand it off to JJ for a shot. Even Doc was smart enough to say, JJ, don't put the ball on the floor. If we're giving it to you, we're giving it to you to shoot the ball. We ran that play so much that it literally meant, this was the consequence. It literally meant that the ball was isolated on the left side of the wing with no ability, because JJ couldn't dribble kick, with no ability to attack the weak side. So essentially, I'd either going to get a JJ Redick shot, I'd either going to get a Joel Embiid attack at the rim, or nothing at all. And it was disturbing. Yes, you did get 1.1 points per shot off of it, but your team offense suffered because he couldn't move the ball from one area to the other. So just thank the Lord that Doc Rivers, he knows that he could use that play with Seth Curry. He knows he can use it with Shake Milton. He knows he can use it with Tyrese Maxey. And at least they are ball handlers. Hell, even Danny Green, who I don't want him putting the ball on the floor either, but even Danny Green is a better ball handler than JJ Redick. Like, if you're going to use it properly. And that's what transpired under Doc Rivers in 15 games, 10-5. So overall, Joel Embiid, monster performance, mid-range, kick out, secondary assist, solid defense. He's the MVP of the league. Now, the topic of the hour, or the topic of the season, number 25. I've made my stance on Ben Simmons perfectly clear on big, tall passer guy. I want big, tall passer guy at small forward, and I want to go with a two-guard lineup. I want Danny Green to go to the bench, where I think Danny Green, first of all, his shooting off the bench would be nice. But number two, I don't want Danny Green to ever be in a position to be exposed by Bradley Beal ever again. Or to be more specific, any team who runs a screen on Danny Green knows it's going to get a 5-on-4. So I would rather Danny Green match up with some second string guard where he isn't going to get exposed as much defensively. Because there's a reason the Sixers defense has been worse the last 6 games. Danny Green cannot guard a screen to save his life. You saw that tonight in that retarded 3-point foul against the Celtics. I have no faith in Danny Green in the playoffs. 0. Like, the Sixers have got to upgrade that spot. And I'm sure that Daryl Morey is looking to upgrade it. You know, Doc Rivers talked about the collaborative effort. It's going to be to a point where, you know, hopefully Doc says, I agree, let's upgrade this wing position. Because you just can't go to war with Danny Green as the starting small forward. You can't. You got to find a way to upgrade that position somehow. I know there aren't that many or even any real big small forwards open right now. But it's got to give the NBA community, there's always a name. So somehow, some way, get me a 6'6", give me a 6'7" dude. I'm okay with our guards. Our guards are playing well. Give me a small forward who's better than Danny Green. That's the number one issue right now for this team. But the reason I say move Ben to the 3 is I'm sick and tired of watching Ben Simmons at point guard. I am. Ben Simmons is not a traditional one guard. He's not someone who's going to attack off the dribble. He's not someone who's going to create off the dribble. He doesn't have a pull-up jump shot. His offensive game is no better than T.J. McConnell's. I could save it for you in 60 seconds. Ben Simmons' offensive game is no better than T.J. McConnell. So when you say, quote-unquote, be aggressive, it really means take your 6'10" body, run into the paint, and hope there's no fouls call. It's ridiculous. Just put the big man off the ball already. I'll never know. Because Ben Simmons has 0 guard skill. 0. Tyrese Maxey is a better point guard than Ben Simmons. if one's wondering why Tyrese Maxey's production has dropped down a little bit, it's because when Ben Simmons came back, and this is where I disagree with Doc the most right now, he has Tyrese Maxey at shooting guard. Stupid. Tyrese Maxey is not a shooting guard. We hope for him to develop his shot one day, but that's not him. And so even Tyrese got phased out a little bit. 21 minutes, only 4 shots. But no turnovers, and I like that about the kid. But the Tyrese Ben pairing in the backcourt, I want it to end as quickly as possible. And if that means that Seth Curry will take his spot for now, then I guess that's what it's going to have to mean. But I hope they never again see Ben and Maxey in the backcourt. Because it phases out Maxey and Ben is mediocre in your backcourt. You ended up basically getting not much production out there. If Joel Embiid is a Joel Embiid, we lose this game comfortably by about 15 points. Ben Simmons, I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I mean, I know, but I know the coaching staff is going to make the change, so I don't know. As long as you're a point guard, please find a way to play that position, even semi-adequately. Even average. Was the average today? I would call it, it was a C- game. 5 fouls, no offense, but your turnovers, which were unacceptably a 6 or 7, you only had 3 tonight, so that's an upgrade. 5% for the FIFA line, that's an upgrade. I like that you're hitting your free throws. I like that you're not turning the ball over as much. You still do not indicate to me that you're... I don't know how long Doc is going to do with this, considering again that he has other options. But I don't think you're the best point guard on this team, and I certainly don't think it's the best position for you as a player and a person. So the sooner we get to this point, the better. Essentially, not much has changed from last year. Regardless of the explosiveness finishing at the rim, is there a difference between 12 points and 16 points in terms of being inefficient, ineffective offensively? No, not at all. His January and February of last year is when he moved off the ball. This guy needs to be a forward for the rest of his career. Playing him at guard is just basketball suicide. But he wasn't terrible. He also wasn't the second or even third best player on the floor, but he wasn't terrible. So baby steps. Baby steps. You're not terrible. In the next game, Friday, I would like you to have a good performance. But at least it wasn't terrible. 10-5, best team in the Eastern Conference. Here's what I'll say about this team 15 games in. What we do know about it. Individually, you're going to have questions. Tobias Harris is a solid, second option, and he hits his shots. But he's not really super efficient with them, so he has to take a lot of them. Ben Simmons is not paying up to $29 million, and the brutal reality is he may never play up to $29 million. That's the cold, hard truth. He may never live up to $29 million in the NBA. That hurts me. It hurts the Sixers front office, most importantly. But if we win the championship, if we don't make any moves and we win the championship, I'll be satisfied with his Ron Rondo self. See, Ben, that's the only way I'll be satisfied with it. I don't care about your all-star appearances, and I certainly don't care about all defensive first team with these newspaper people who barely watch the Sixers at any rate, just give the guy an award for the hell of it. I don't give a shit. I only care if we win more playoff games this year than we did the last 2 years. That's all I care about. So if we win a championship, you could be Rondo all you want, and I'm okay with it. Fantasy owners may not be, but I will be. Because the championship on Ball Street Like RB said, that's more important. So if you're going to do that and we get in June, fine. But if you have another first round or second round exit, that's something that Daryl Morey's going to have to think about moving forward. And quite frankly, running back nation, DJ Eastwood, he himself said it, and he said it before I was going to say it. Your trade value is dropping like a rock, man. No one's going to trade 35 points per game Bradley Beal for 11 points, solid rebounding, and defense Ben Simmons. Because regardless of you being 24 or not, 6'10" role player, that could be had, in the mid-round of a draft. Maybe not as explosively as Ben Simmons, but it could be had. If you want your trade value to increase at minimum, if you want to stay in the 6th team for long term at most, play better than a little bit better than Draymond Green. Give me more, because we need more. 6th of the universe signing off.